Let's begin by telling you that the leadership of the organized labor, comprising the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress, has affirmed their commitment to proceed with an indefinite nationwide strike set to begin today. This announcement comes after a 4-hour meeting with the National Assembly leadership in Abuja on Sunday. Speaking on behalf of the labor unions, TUC President Festus Osifo stated that the outcome of the meeting would be communicated to the respective organs of both labor centers before any final decision could be made. Osifo expressed frustration with the government's reluctance to finalize the living wage for Nigerian workers despite labor's efforts to avoid economic disruption. The National Assembly stepped in to mediate the deadlock between the federal government and the labor unions, recognizing the legitimacy of both parties concerned.
Will also be fair. Hence, in the last 4 hours, we have been making appeal, and we are still appealing to the leadership of the NLC and the TUC to quickly return to the negotiating table with government with a view to finding a lasting solution on this minimum wage issue. So we thank you. Without going into more details, I believe we've had very positive meetings. We read from both sides, and we are happy and satisfied that action will be taken on both sides. I appeal that the strike is suspended and negotiations commence in the interest of the Nigerian economy and the interest of all Nigerians united.
Is that we have agreed to prevail on the government to revisit the issue of the 35,000 Nigerian workers wage award that was started in October last year and stopped in February.
We would have been much more happy.
I am now joined by News Central correspondent Emmanuel Bagudu to give us an update on the indefinite nationwide strike in Abuja at the moment. Emmanuel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
So go ahead with your updates. Go ahead and tell us what's the sense of frustration or even determination among the workers that if you've spoken to anyone.
Yes. I'm standing right here at the Central Business District here in Abuja. Just by the Labour House, and the Labour House has a lot of ministries and parastatals around it, like the CBN, the Federal Ministry of Finance, a lot of construction sites. So Labour executives have been enforcing the strike action. They have shut down construction workers out of their construction sites. A lot of government buildings here have been shut down, and they are really enforcing it. Most of the laborers who are depending on this construction site are really affected because they didn't expect that they are going to be involved in the strike. So I have spoken to a lot of them, and they actually expressed their displeasure over what's going on.
All right, I can see, some workers, gallivanting behind you. Are they part of those who have been locked out of their offices or even construction site? And have you spoken to any one of them behind you?
Yes. I've spoken to a lot of them. The enforcement is so serious here because the labor headquarters is just beside me. So you can expect to see a lot of compliance because the police are also being used to enforce this order, because the labor executives are walking around with a police van, and they are going around to make sure that no one, is breaking the...
all right, Emmanuel, now still talking about those workers, how would you say they intend to manage to cope with the daily challenges of the strike, and do they have hopes for resolution that's between the labor and the government?
Yes. Looking at the severity of what's happening today, we expect to see another meeting happening by the leadership of the National Assembly. which will be different from that of yesterday, because Abuja is really dry and people are already complaining. Very soon we are going to be sharing videos of these private workers, these construction workers who have been affected. So we hope that because of the severity of this strike, because of how serious it is and how it's affecting people, we expect to see some response from government officials and of course from the National Assembly today.
All right, thank you so much, Emmanuel Bagudu from Abuja. All right, we also have a correspondent in Abuja as well, talking about Joshua Imaraye. Hello, Joshua, can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you clearly, loud and clearly.
All right, Joshua, where are you at the moment in Abuja? And go ahead and give us an update of your location.
I'm currently at the Federal Secretariat in Abuja, and behind me is the Federal Secretariat, and the gates, they are shut under lock and key. We have a series of labor leaders going around to ensure that there is full compliance with the order from the National Union and the organized labor. I have here with me one of the labor union leaders too.
All right, one of the labor unions, so go ahead and speak to him. Is he ready to talk?
Comrade Ali, yes, Comrade Ali is ready to talk.
All right, please go ahead and ask him a few questions.
Okay, with me here is Comrade Ali, who is one of the labor union leaders in the Federal Secretariat in Abuja. Comrade Ali, what do you make of the entire situation here, and do you think there will be any resolution coming in from now?
Well, if at all the government dance to our tone, there will be a resolution. But if they are not ready to dance to our tone, we'll continue until when they answer us.
So how long do you think this will go on?
Depends on him, the president.
Depends on who?
Depends on the president when he decides.
When he decides?
Yes.
Oh well. Yeah, you just have
one positive answer from him.
Okay.
Anything negative, it will still remain. Even if it is 1 month, we are still on strike.
Okay, you just heard from Comrade Aliu from the Federal Secretariat in Abuja.
Okay. Now, we've actually had situations in the past where, the indefinite strike, gets called off, shortly after. But we're seeing that he is saying that it's going to be indefinite, but it's still deadlocked. So is there a possibility of them coming to a consensus? Because so many people are even the workers actually saying the amount of 400,000 naira, for civil servants is actually much. So can you go ahead and ask him if he feels that, at least they would come to a consensus, on that amount?
Well, according to the recent demand the labor union is making, they are currently demanding for an amount of 400,000 naira and above.
400 and something.
460 something.
Yes.
Do you think this amount might be reduced for a consensus to be met? Do you think the labor union will go back to their decision?
No, you see, what you have now, the money is 60 something. 615 that we requested for.
Okay, we have requested for 615, yeah?
Yeah, we have already reduced the money to 400 and something, 470 something. But the president is not ready to take care of the civil servant. So I already said in his speech that he's going to take care of the civil servant. I'm not thinking of that. Now that is not ready to do it, we are ready to fight it to the last call.
So there's
nothing like meeting until you just announce that something you want, I did it.
So there will be no going back on that 400,000.
That tariff have to come down too.
Okay, the electricity tariff.
The electricity tariff have to come down. Without coming down, no way.
You just heard from Comrade Aliu. He said there is no going back on the 400 and something thousand that they are hammering on, and there seems to be a very, very strong spirit to ensure that this demand is met.
All right, I'm actually tempted to ask, about what he feels about what the government said, that the 400,000 naira will definitely shut down the economy. But let's move to our correspondent in Borno State, Umar Kirawa. Hello, Umar, can you hear me?
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Umar. So what is, the compliance, the level of compliance like, in Borno State as regards to the strike?
Well, there are some aspect of compliance in Borno State. However, there are certain locations which I visited earlier this morning where there seems to be working ongoing. Particularly, I was at the State Specialist Hospital where I met a lot of patients going into the hospital to seek medical attention, and a lot of them have obtained their cards waiting for doctors to make consultations and then obtain some medications. But however, at the Maiduguri International Airport, Muhammadu Buhari International Airport, I've learned that there is total compliance by the organized labor here in Borno State, because even we've learned that even in Abuja, there's the organized labor has shut down the airport. As such, people from Borno State are not using the international airport. However, on the other hand, students are seen going to schools to write their WAEC examination. And to give us more light on this, the chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress Borno State is here to shed more light on this. So you are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Yes. First, you introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. My name is Commander Yusuf Ini, the chairman of Nigeria Labour Congress here in Borno State.
Okay, what is the situation like? And of course, with regard to the compliance of the organized labor indefinite strike here in Borno.
As rightly said by you, yesterday evening we are able to hold our joint State Executive Council meeting with NSA and TUC, and we took a position that we are also not going to be left behind. So this morning, as early as 6:30, the leadership, which we formed as a strong monitoring team to this strike action, we went as early as possible, as early as 6:30 to shut down the Musa Osman Secretariat, and at the same time to shut down the Federal Secretariat. However, this is the first three to 4 hours of the commencement of the strike. We are having issue with our children who are writing WAEC. So, and then at the same time, we are going now to see how best to solve the situation, because at the health institution, most of our health institutions, people doesn't know that today the strike have commenced, though we have aired everything yesterday in TV and radio, and then the mobilization is ongoing. This is the first 3 hours. Definitely, right now we are at the Nigeria Labour Congress House, trying to form ourselves to go out to enforce compliance.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, there has been a lot of issues, particularly with regard to the enforcement of such kind of indefinite strike, particularly in Borno State, taking into consideration the years of insurgency, the trauma of the people, and so on and so forth. Are we going to see the total enforcement? Because in the previous years, we've seen skeletal enforcement of such services, particularly in the health centers and other sectors, particularly the transport. Now there are a lot of vehicles on the road and so on. What is the situation like?
Yes. We have been experiencing this type of problem previously, but this time around, we are having a relatively peace within the state capital. So within the state capital, since we are having relatively peace, we are going to say that we impose the strike. As for the health institutions, we have taken a position yesterday that we are going to provide skeletal services, essential services to those that may need an emergency cases. So right now, these skeletal services will be provided at the health centers, and at the same time, Ministry for Water Resources also we take a position that we are going to provide also a skeletal services for our operators, so that the citizens cannot suffer much. We are just coming up from our post-insurgency, and we don't want to have more trauma on what we have had before. But we are going to follow it the way it's supposed to be based by the law. The transport commuters will just sat down now to meet the management of the company to make sure that all our commuters, those that are operating Borno Express, would be withdrawn from the road. Right now, after this interview, we are going to enforce the compliance.
All right, please, just before he leaves, can you go ahead and, ask him what he thinks the personal cost of the strike is, to the everyday life of the Nigerians?
Yes, we all aware. Yesterday there is a very high meeting that was called, comprising of ministers, the chief of staff to the president, the secretary to the federal government, to see the best way to intervene. But however, we have already given them an ultimatum on 1st May. 1st May, we have given them an ultimatum that whatever situation we find ourselves, let them make sure this negotiation is over before 31st May. And we can see how the negotiation is going on. It's really sympathetic. We are really sympathizing ourselves for federal government to offer 60,000. In fact, they offer 47,000 when in the next meeting they add 3,000, which to us is not fair. The statistics we took for a single person, a single worker who has no wife, no children, we estimated for him to pay transport and food, it's worth 100,000 naira. Talk less of somebody who is having 4 children, his wife and himself. Yeah, that is not acceptable by labor, and we feel federal government should come to our aid because of the economic situation we find ourselves in the country.
All right, thank you, sir. Now, Umaru, let's come back to Lagos here, where we have our correspondent, Bernard Akede, waiting on us. Hello, Bernard. Can you hear me? Good morning. Bernard, if you can hear me, can you say something?
I can hear you loud and clear, Dash.
All right, fantastic. Where in Lagos are you at the moment? And go ahead and give us an update.
All right, Dash, and I'm at one of the entrances of Lagos State Secretariat in Ikeja here, not too far from our studios. And what you're seeing behind me is pretty much unusual on a Monday morning. You can see a long trail of vehicles here. These presumably are vehicles that belong to Lagos State workers. And then the people standing just by the vehicles are staff of Lagos State Secretariat. Now, they are standing here because, of course, they have to comply with the strike action that the National Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress has called for. This started exactly this morning and has kicked off. There also are security vehicles here just to ensure that nothing goes wrong. As at very early this morning, even before 7 a.m., there was a bus from Labour Congress right here blocking off this entrance to the Secretariat, and then another entrance just beside Ikeja City Mall has also been blocked off. And it's believed that it's going to be like this all through today and possibly tomorrow in compliance with the ongoing industrial action that has been called by the National Labour Congress. And I'll ask the camera to swing a bit so that you can have a clearer picture of what exactly is happening behind me. There's a large crowd of persons standing just outside the complex of Alausa Secretariat. Now, there have been vehicles of staff trying to make their way into the Secretariat, but as you can see right there...
Bernard, what's happening? There's a lady running away from the Secretariat.
Civil Service Union, I believe, yes? Nigeria Civil Service Union, blocking off.
Okay, I actually saw a lady, running away from the Secretariat. I hope there's nothing actually going on. But then, on your way to the Secretariat, can you describe to us the scenes that you probably witnessed, talking about places like hospitals, schools, and also transportation systems, grinding to a halt?
Well, schools are still in session, and for the schools we passed, activities seem to be continuing. We haven't passed by any hospitals yet, but it's looking like some private companies have also been affected by the strike. Earlier this morning, we passed by the factory of 7-Up Bottling Company. Usually, you would expect to see huge crowds of persons, particularly factory workers, trying to get in there. The same thing at the Nigeria Bottling Company, that's Coca-Cola Bottling Company here in Alausa Ikeja. Both factories were very scanty in terms of having factory workers hovering around, around their gates. So I believe that this is also in compliance to the industrial action that has been called. We also got information this morning that even the Ikeja City Mall that houses ShopRite and other stores was also visited by members of the National Labour Congress. I'm not sure why they were there, but it seems like they also went there to ensure that there was compliance. Now, those stores are not run by the government, so it's a bit surprising. But if the information we got is anything to go by, then it means that the Labour Congress is serious about this industrial action, and they are going from company to company, from store to store, and from organization to organization, just to ensure that there is 100% compliance to this indefinite industrial action that commences today.
All right, Bernard, let's move to our other correspondent in the East, talking about Chinwe Ugele. She's in Umma here at the moment. Hello, Chinwe. Can you hear me?
Good morning, I can hear you.
All right, Chinwe, good morning. So please go ahead and give us an update. Where in Umahia are you? And go ahead and give us an update on the industrial action happening at the moment.
Okay, presently I'm in front of the gate leading to the Accountant General's office, where labor leaders are currently at right now. Earlier, they were at the Federal Medical Center in Umahia to seal up the place and ensure that workers are not offering services to people. So the labor chairman, the chairman in the state, Comrade Okoro, is right behind me, and the people. So I would like to bring him here to also say, in his own words, what NLC is to the street standing on. Yes, a lot of banks, and all the banks are closed. None is functioning right now. So I'd like to invite Mr. Okoro to please come. By the grace of God. Okay, so there you have him. Mr. Okoro is addressing the people concerning labor leaders, basically, on what is happening today. So it is actually in compliance of directive from the national body, telling people to stay home until the federal government, agrees to their demand of the 400,000 naira. So there you have him. Good morning, Mr. Okoro. Okay, so here with me is the NLC chairman here in Abia State. Please go ahead and tell us what you're doing this morning.
This is a national directive from the National Council of NLC, organized labor. All effort that was made last night to make the federal government come back to reasoning with NLC to enable proved abortive. The federal government have not even shifted a bit. They are still in their own state. But we are telling them that we have come. The strike have commenced. We will not go back until the federal government do the needful. We are not going back until we receive a counter order from Comrade Joe Ajero and Comrade Rosifo. That's the national president, NLC, and national president of TUC. Remember, this action is joint action of NLC and TUC. No going back. They're saying 60,000 naira, and they are claiming, boasting, that they have offered 100%. And we are telling them that fuel pump price fuel, as at last year, January, was 164 naira. Now it is 840 naira or 50 naira. When you time it in percentage, it's above 450%.
Chinwe, we might actually have to stop him there. It seems he has so much to say. So what we're going to do now is would reconnect with our correspondent, first of all, Emmanuel Bagudu in Abuja. Emmanuel, if you just hold on, Chinwe, hold on, I'll definitely get back to you. But Emmanuel, if you can hear me, go ahead and, tell us what's next after this. What should be expected?
Okay, yeah, a lot of things are happening right now because we have stranded construction workers who have nowhere to go, and then of course we just have, there's a bus here that's going around. I think FCT Urban Mass Transit is going around to pick up these construction guys who are stranded to take them back to their houses. So is that serious?
All right.
That's what's just happened now.
All right, thank you, Emmanuel. In one sentence, Joshua, let's hear from you.
Well, it all points to one direction here in Abuja. That's the labor union. They are not backing down. They are still resilient on their mandate, and they are saying that unless the federal government buys into their demands, the action is not going to be stopping anytime soon.
All right, let's hear from Bernard Akede, who is in Lagos.
Well, it's pretty much the same here in Lagos as it is in other parts of the country. Labor Union here have said there's no going back until Victoria Asata. All of the labor offices are going to be shut. Secretariat offices will be shut. Hospitals and other places would also be shut indefinitely until eventually they are able to meet at a convergence point. That's talking about labor and the government. From our part, we will continue to go around to see how far compliance to this strike will be adhered to.
All right, Chingwe. Chingwe, please go ahead and let's hear what's next after this.
Okay, you heard it from the Labour chairman here in Abia State. It's fight to finish because they are going to go around, like the man has said, they are going to go around to different offices, private, government, agencies to make sure that they are complying to the directive of the NLC and TUC.
All right. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen and lady. Those are our correspondents in Lagos, Abuja, and Umuahia. I will definitely keep tabs on the story as the story progresses. Thank you so much. All right, away from that, the Transmission Company of Nigeria has announced the complete shutdown of Nigeria's power grid by labor unions as the strike by the Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress begins. Announcing the shutdown of the national power grid in a statement issued on Monday morning by TCN spokesperson Ndidi Mba, the transmission firm said the action was deliberately done by the workers. On the power generating side, TCN said the power generating units from different generating stations were forced to shut down some units of their generating plants. It promises to continue to make efforts to recover and stabilize the grid to enable the restoration of normal bulk transmission of electricity to distribution load centers nationwide. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, the federal government said it has commenced measures to ensure efficiency and reliability of health supplies procurement across Nigeria. This, they say, is to enhance health procurement systems as part of strategies to improve healthcare service delivery in the country. Director General of Bureau of Public Procurement, Mamman Amadou, disclosed this at a pool procurement workshop in the Federal Capital Territory. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
These are relevant stakeholders comprising both government and non-governmental organizations brainstorming on ways to effectively use the pool procurement tool to enhance Nigeria's healthcare delivery system.
Each one of us plays a critical role.
The Director General of the Bureau for Public Procurement highlighted several initiatives put down by government for health procurement.
Implementation of e-procurement platform, strengthening regulatory oversight, capacity building and professional development, and commitment to sustainable practices.
Also, the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, says that the government has continued to work round the clock to improve procurement of essentials needed in healthcare sector so as to improve access to healthcare for all citizens.
The Federal Ministry of Health has implemented several policies and strategies to strengthen our health products procurement and supply chain system through the years. And this is motivated by the desire to create a patient-oriented supply chain master to achieve high levels of efficiency and effectiveness in the delivery of medicines and other health products to the people of Nigeria.
Other stakeholders present took time to highlight the importance of the pool procurement tool, especially in the health sector.
Pool procurement is more than just a strategic approach. It's a transformative tool that can significantly impact our healthcare system when it is correctly utilised. By leveraging collective purchasing power, we can achieve economies of scale, ensure consistent quality of supplies, and secure better pricing.
You can see manufacturers making investment because they want to support that procurement activity. And what that means is their capacity is improving. Some of them can look at what they have to expand. And ultimately, by doing that, you are contributing to economic development because you have suppliers.
It is hoped that the outcome of this event will lead to more transparency in procurement exercises in the health sector and subsequently improve access to healthcare in Nigeria. In Abuja for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
The African Fashion and Arts Awards Foundation has called for increased awareness of mental health issues for youths across the country, saying mental health inhibits their creativity. Now, this was during a capacity training session for students at the Government Science and Technical College Area 3 in Abuja, where they say this is needed so that they know where to get help when needed. Amadin Uyi reports.
According to a 2022 estimate of the World Health Organization, more than 116 million people are estimated to be living with mental health conditions across the African region. While few people on the continent have access to quality and available mental health care, the 2024 theme for the World Mental Health Care Day, which states that mental health is a universal human right, can be described as very apt. As stakeholders around the world raise awareness on mental health issues, the Africa Fashion and Arts Awards Foundation says that the task is for everyone on the continent.
We are concerned about youth, we are concerned about African talent, we are concerned about creatives. You cannot be creative when your mental space is not okay. So we know that mental wellness is very vital for every creative.
The foundation visited the Government Science and Technical College, Area 3 in the Gariki district of Abuja, to raise awareness about mental health issues, saying there's a need to target youths because mental health inhibits their creativity.
As you can see, these are youths, and these are the futures of tomorrow, the leaders of tomorrow. You know, Africa depends on these young ones. Nigeria as a country depends on these young ones. So we're bringing the campaign to youth across the continent. We're going to do this in Abuja, Lagos, different other cities, wherever we find ourselves. We need to impact these youths.
A lot of them out there are being depressed, out of anxiety, out of bullying, cyberbullying, out of so many things, even in school. They don't know whom to talk to. But today they've learned that they can talk to their parents. They can talk to the counselors in school. They can talk to a mentor whom they look up to.
Before, earlier than this, you know, people are going through hell. Teenagers are going through hell. Adolescents are going through, even adults, we go through hell. But with the awareness now, people got to know that, oh, this thing that is doing me is not ordinary. Anxieties, you know, what I'm coping, confusions that are going on in my brain, they're not all that ordinary, that I need help.
They say there's a need to ensure that Nigerian youths have adequate knowledge of issues about mental health so that they can get help when needed.
We can't always get it wrong. We can get it right. And for you to get it right, you need to start from the pipeline. So what we do is capacity building. We're impacting knowledge. Because if you don't know, you cannot even help yourself. So the reason we're doing it is for them to know so that they can help themselves.
The African Fashion and Arts Awards is also calling for an end to stigmatization of people with mental health issues. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uyi.
Thank you, Amadin Uyi, for shedding more light on mental health issues. Now, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control has issued a stern warning to Nigerians against using hazardous chemicals for food preservation, highlighting serious health risks, including cancer and death. In a statement released on Sunday by NAFDAC's resident media consultant, Shayo Akintola, the agency reiterated its ban on dichloros, a chemical frequently used by traders to prevent food spoilage. NAFDAC expressed deep concern over a recent viral video showing the use of such dangerous chemicals to preserve food items like beans, stockfish, and crayfish. Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, Director General of NAFDAC, urged traders and merchants to stop using unauthorized chemicals on food intended for human consumption. She recommended biopesticides as a safer alternative to other chemicals for food preservation. Professor Adeyeye also cautioned that food remaining unspoiled for unusually long periods might indicate pesticide contamination rather than genuine freshness unless it is stored properly, such as in a refrigerator. Welcome back. Now, in northeastern Burkina Faso, thousands of displaced people have fled terrorist violence in the Sahel region to precarious shelters where their future seems hopeless. Abandoning their homes and farms as the militants swooped, thousands have run for their lives in these camps near the town of Dori, where little hope awaits them. The displaced people rarely speak of the group's names, but authorities generally identify them as militants linked to Al-Qaeda or the Islamic State group. At the start of this year, 85% of schools and 69% of health centers in the Sahel sector were closed, according to the UN Office of the Coordinator of Humanitarian Affairs.
ana na do kono farnya tawan awari ga heba dawi awari gada ton hunde da yi awi sumi yi gada fumi heba a hebata gada awari ga a jodan ni
nasi ya bizamana wi ngirbe alwan ken be nam lab ko ka dum sun lori a kuye neba riban kitu zoyi wako
kila mingari ka pai goto wara ndar no min burdi ngonni mi njode jonde ko min gollo e to dori to ko min kedini won ko min nyamata kondude
is actually a deep sense of discrimination in world solidarity. There is no other way to say it, because 9 out of 10 of the most neglected crises in the world, measured as we do in aid, in media attention and political and diplomatic initiatives, compared to the millions in need, they are all in Africa, basically, 9 out of 10.
Now to updates on the South African elections. South Africa's governing African National Congress lost its 30-year-old outright majority in this week's election, winning only 159 seats in the 400-seat parliament, official results showed Sunday. President Cyril Ramaphosa and the leaders of most of the rival parties attended the announcement, but in a sign he intends to challenge the result, former President Jacob Zuma stayed away. No single party won a majority in the National Assembly. Behind the ANC's 159 seats from 40% of the vote came the center-right Democratic Alliance on 87 seats and 22%. In third place was Zuma's upstart Radical Party, the newly formed Umkhonto weSizwe, which grabbed 14.59% of the vote and 58 seats, but had nevertheless denounced the process. Speaking during the live broadcast of the results, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa said people have spoken and their choices must be respected.
Our people have spoken. Whether we like it or not, they have spoken. As the leaders of political parties, as all those who occupied or occupy positions of responsibility in society, we have heard the voices of our people, and we must respect their choices and their wishes. Over the past 30 years, we have strived together to build a country which everyone, black and white, man and woman, young and old,
Now, in other news from around the world, Claudia Sheinbaum has been elected as Mexico's first woman president in an historic landslide win. Mexico's official electoral authority said preliminary results showed the 61-year-old former mayor of Mexico City winning between 58% and 60% of the vote in Sunday's election. That gives her a lead of more than 30 percentage points over her main rival, businesswoman Xochitl Gálvez. Now, Sheinbaum will replace her mentor, outgoing President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, on October 1st. Speaking after the preliminary official results, Claudia Sheinbaum said she is grateful to become first woman president of Mexico.
Agradezco también porque por primera vez en 200 años de la República me convertiré en la primera mujer presidenta de México. Y como lo he dicho en otras ocasiones, no llego sola, llegamos todas, con nuestras heroínas que nos dieron patria, con nuestras ancestras, nuestras madres, nuestras hijas y nuestras nietas.
Now, in the world of sports, the Super Eagles camp is officially opened ahead of Nigeria's crucial back-to-back qualifiers for the 2026 FIFA World Cup against South Africa and the Benin Republic next week. 16 players are currently training at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium. Some of the players in camp are Ndidi Wilfred, Kelechi Iheanacho, Terem Murphy, Stanley Nwabili, and Boniface Victor. Now, 3 players from the NPFL, Ojo Olorunleke Eyimba, Sodiq Ismail, Remo Stars, and Kenneth Igboke, that's Rangers International, have already arrived in camp, forfeiting crucial matches for their title-chasing teams to answer the national call. More players like Maduka Okoye, Alex Iwobi, Shemi Ajayi, and expected to join the team soon. Nigeria will face South Africa at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Uyo on Friday, 7th June at 8 p.m. They will then travel to Abidjan to take on Benin Republic at the Stade Félix Houphouët-Boigny on Monday, 10th June. All 6 Nigerian boxers who participated in the second World Boxing Olympic qualification in Thailand have returned home without securing a ticket to the 2024 Olympics Games. The hope of seeing Nigeria represented in boxing at the Paris Games was dashed when the last 2 contenders, Adesina Zainab and Patricia Mbata, were both eliminated in the quarters final. Now, Adesina was defeated by Kaivo Oja Pilar of Finland in the women's 50 kg category, while Mbata lost to Citlali Vanessa Ortiz of Mexico in the women's 75 kg category on Sunday. The Nigeria Boxing Federation had pinned its hopes on these 2 athletes to qualify for the Olympics, given their strong chances. 6 Nigerian boxers registered to compete in the second window qualification tournament in Bangkok, Thailand, fighting for spots in the 50 kg, 57 kg, 66 kg, 75 kg, and plus 92 kg categories. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our top stories. We told you that organized labor has commenced indefinite nationwide strike. We also told you that displaced people have fled terrorist violence in Burkina Faso. Finally, you heard that oppositions have broken ANC's 30-year majority in South African parliament. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.